You're in the middle of a heated argument, and suddenly, silence. That heavy, loaded quiet. You might think the fight's over, that peace has returned. But what if I told you that silence often isn't a white flag? It's a hidden declaration of war. We think of conflict as noisy, a clash of words and wills. But one of the most powerful, and often most damaging, parts of any disagreement is the total absence of noise. It's a weirdly confusing space, leaving one person feeling totally abandoned and the other locked in a fortress of their own making. So what's really going on when someone just shuts down? Is it weakness? A lack of interest? Or is it something way more complex, a deep-seated psychological reflex that's been years in the making? Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the quiet battlefield of conflict. We'll get into the real psychological reasons people go silent, from a brain that's completely overwhelmed to a calculated, manipulative tactic. By understanding why we go quiet, we can learn to handle these tense moments with a lot more wisdom and empathy, whether we read the one going silent or the one left in that deafening void. First up, let's talk about when silence isn't a choice at all, it's biology. Have you ever been in an argument and felt so overwhelmed your mind just goes blank? You can't find the words, your heart is pounding, and all you want to do is run. That isn't a sign of weakness. It's a very real psychological state called emotional flooding. Emotional flooding is exactly what it sounds like. You get swamped by emotions like fear or anger. According to pioneering psychologist Dr. John Gottman, this experience triggers the body's ancient fight-or-flight response. Your heart rate skyrockets, stress hormones flood your system, and the rational, thinking part of your brain gets shoved aside. Your body basically thinks it's in danger, so the logical part goes offline so you can react fast. In this state, real communication is pretty much impossible. Your brain isn't looking for a solution. It's looking for an exit. For a lot of people, that exit is silence. It's a full-on retreat, a form of self-preservation to stop the emotional overload. The silence here isn't an attack. It's a desperate attempt to feel safe when your nervous system is screaming danger. The person isn't trying to ignore you. Their brain has temporarily lost the ability to engage. It's like a computer with too many tabs open, it just freezes. The only way to get it working again is to shut it down and reboot. Sometimes, the instinct to go quiet during a fight wasn't born in that moment. It was learned over years, often starting way back in childhood. If you grew up in a home where speaking your mind led to punishment, criticism, or just being ignored, you probably learned a very simple lesson: silence is survival. When a kid's attempts to express themselves are constantly shot down, they internalize that their voice is a liability. To avoid pain, you learn to be quiet. This pattern of self-silencing can follow us right into our adult relationships. It becomes a subconscious reflex for self-protection. During an argument, that old fear of being attacked or hurt bubbles up, and the person retreats into that familiar, quiet shell. This silence isn't really about the argument happening now. It's about all the arguments that came before. It's a trauma response, a deep-seated belief that conflict is dangerous and saying what you truly feel will only make things worse. People who self-silence are often just trying to keep the peace, even if it's a fake peace. They'll bury their own needs to avoid rocking the boat. This isn't a strategy for winning. It's a strategy for not losing the little stability they feel they have. The silence is a shield. But here's the painful paradox. In trying to preserve the connection, they end up creating an emotional distance that can slowly destroy the very relationship they were trying to protect. All right, we've covered silence as a shield. Next, we're diving into how it can become a weapon. If you're finding this useful, do us a favor and hit that subscribe button to join our community. We break down the psychology behind our everyday lives every single week, and we'd love to have you with us. Okay, so not all silence is a warning sign. But there's a huge difference between freezing up and choosing to be quiet. When used with intention, silence can actually be one of the best tools for resolving conflict. This is the silence of reflection, a conscious choice to pause instead of just reacting. In the heat of an argument, our gut instinct is to defend, push back, or just fill every empty space with more words. But taking a deliberate moment of silence lets us do something amazing: think. Research from MIT has even shown that in negotiations, silent pauses of at least 3 seconds often come right before a breakthrough. When someone intentionally uses that pause, they shift into a more thoughtful mindset. This kind of strategic silence gives you the space to process what was said. Check in with your own feelings and choose your next words carefully. It's the difference between a panicked freeze and a mindful breath. This type of silence is also a key part of active listening. When you're quiet while someone else talks, you're sending a powerful message. I'm here. I'm listening. What you're saying matters. It builds trust and lets the other person actually finish their thought. It is a sign of emotional maturity knowing that sometimes the most useful thing you can add to a conversation is a little bit of quiet. And now, we need to talk about the dark side of silence. This is when it's used not to protect or reflect, but to punish and control. We're talking about the silent treatment. This isn't a reflective pause. It's a deliberate withdrawal of communication designed to cause pain. It's a guessing game where one person holds all the cards, leaving the other to anxiously spiral, wondering what they did wrong. Now, is this always a calculated, sinister plot? Not necessarily. For some, it's a dysfunctional coping mechanism learned over time, a sign of poor emotional regulation and communication skills. They might not even realize how harmful it is. But whether it's intentional or not, the effect is the same. Research shows that being ignored lights up the same areas of the brain that process physical pain. It's a deeply distressing experience that can make the person on the receiving end feel worthless, anxious, and ashamed. The person using silence leverages this discomfort, knowing it often pushes their partner to give in just to break the suffocating quiet. It's a way to dodge responsibility while making the other person feel guilty. In this context, silence isn't a shield, it's a weapon. It's a passive-aggressive way of saying, "You don't deserve my words. I'm erasing you until you bend to my will." This behavior destroys trust and can be a form of emotional abuse. Finally, we can't forget that culture writes the rules for what silence means. In many Western cultures, like in the US or Western Europe, communication is expected to be direct and verbal. In a conflict, going quiet can be seen negatively as a sign of disinterest, disagreement, or being passive. But that's not a universal rule. In many East Asian and indigenous cultures, for example, silence can mean something totally different. It can be a sign of respect, deep thought, and social harmony. In these contexts, speaking too much or too fast can come off as impulsive or arrogant. A pause before speaking can show you are carefully considering the other person's words. During a conflict, silence might be a way to show respect to an elder or to avoid a direct confrontation that could cause everyone to lose face. This cultural layer adds a whole other level of complexity, right? What one person sees as a hostile shutdown, another might intend as a gesture of respect. In our interconnected world, being aware of these nuances is key. It reminds us that before we judge someone's silence, we have to consider the unspoken rules they've learned their whole lives. So, silence in a conflict is a pretty complicated thing, isn't it? It can be a desperate cry for safety from an overloaded brain, the quiet echo of old wounds, a wise pause that leads to a breakthrough, or a cold, calculated weapon. Silence is never just the absence of sound. It's a message all its own. The tricky part is that the message is written in invisible ink, and it takes real empathy to read it. The key is to look past the quiet and try to understand the motivation behind it. If you're the one who goes silent, it's worth asking yourself, am I protecting myself or am I punishing the other person? Do I need a timeout or am I just avoiding the issue? Just saying, I'm feeling overwhelmed and need 20 minutes before we talk again, can turn a destructive habit into a constructive one. And if you're on the receiving end of the silence, try to resist the urge to demand a response. Instead, create a feeling of safety. You could say, I see you've gone quiet and I want to understand what's happening. When you're ready, I'm here to listen. This can open the door to dialogue instead of building the wall even higher. Ultimately, navigating the silence in our lives requires us to become better listeners, not just to words, but to the quiet spaces in between. Because it's in those spaces that we often find the hidden truths of our relationships. What's your experience with this? Do you tend to go quiet or do you face things head on? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your story might help someone else feel a little less alone in the quiet.